What's going on, Fire Nation? It's your boy Rico along my little big cousin G Baby and our boy Raul the Zookeeper. And we are the Friendly Fire Podcast, the hottest podcast on either side of the Mississippi, episode 63.
63 of them things.
63.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing today, fellas? Wellness check.
Doing good, doing great. Labor Day weekend, so let's have a fun episode, y'all.
Absolutely. Zoo, talk to me.
I'm also doing good. I'm also doing great. It is raining.
Yes, I woke up. I felt like I
Fantastic.
was in some like neo soul music video. Heard the rain tapping on my window pane. I'm like, wait a minute.
Window pane. Look at him. We ain't never heard that before.
I'm using that
Yeah,
on the
double
song.
entendre, bro.
I'm
Double
using a
entendre.
song somewhere, you know.
He grabbed the white dress shirt with the baby Keem tie went out in the rain.
I immediately hit every high note I could find. Baby, come back. She's looking out the window like I'm right.
Dude, get your ass in this house.
Oh man, but we got a really good lighthearted episode. But we got two questions of the day.
Oh,
My boys came through with two curveballs back to back. So in usual fashion, we're gonna let Zoo go first because he's usually the question connoisseur. So my boy, what do you got for us?
So mine, I thought of it during our pod last week, but as well while I was at work this week. So today's Sunday, the 4th, September 4th. And I'm actually going to the Daddy Yankee concert tonight. You know.
Yes, you are.
shout out Daddy Yankee.
And so my question began last week when we were talking about kind of like, well, I think we've talked about this before, but like longevity and rap and stuff and whatnot. So my question was, how come in like rap / hip hop and like everything in between, it's like people, it's cool, or maybe not even cool, but it's common to hate on the older generations of like rappers and whatnot. Because like I said, I'm going to Daddy Yankee concert tonight, and like the Bad Bunny fans, who you could say are the newer reggaeton fans, they all love Daddy Yankee. Like no one ever shits on Daddy Yankee when he drops a new album. Everyone, probably the same people who are at that Bad Bunny concert, are going to be at the concert tonight. And like I said, when I was talking about the experience for the Bad Bunny, he brought out, which would be the equivalent to a Lil Kim.
Okay.
And we gave her like a 5-7 minute standing ovation. And then not only like this genre, but like in country, you know, when Miley Cyrus made that song with Dolly Parton, I remember that went viral because everyone was like, "Oh, we love Dolly" and like whatnot. And like the newer like pop singers, like they all love, like the newer pop fans, they all love like the Christina Aguileras and the Britney Spears and Spice Girls and whatnot. The newer boy bands like the One Directions. Like if you ask the kids, because I've seen it go viral on TikTok, where like parents show like their kids who love One Direction, they show them the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Then the kids like start liking them. But I feel like only in hip hop where you could get a little baby fan and you show them I don't know, a Tribe Called Quest or something, and they're like, "Oh, you know, what's this old? Get this off my screen. Get this off my AirPods." And I feel like it only happens in hip hop. Like even in rock and roll, we saw with the Stranger Things, Metallica started trending again, #1, and that was a song from the '80s, you know. And like everybody was like, "Yo, we love Metallica, we love Nirvana, we love Red Hot Chili Peppers." They just sold out Soldier Field and whatnot. But I feel like with hip hop artists, it just doesn't happen, except the very select few where it's like the Jay-Z's kind of. And even then, it's like they get talked about. But that song he just did on DJ Khaled didn't go #1.
Yeah.
Kanye does it, but because Kanye makes newer sounding music, it's not like he's sticking to his college dropout, late registration sound. It's because he's evolving with the times. But it's like artists that still they stuck back then, they get I don't know, like shit on or criticized in hip hop.
I'm gonna give my brief answer. I think one of the biggest issues to a certain extent is that hip hop in its foundation was found on being current. It was found on telling what's going on in the times, whether, I mean, back to the OGs, but even let's look at the 80s with NWA and everybody that was really popping. They were talking about the problems and trials and tribulations of that time. So if NWA comes back together still rapping about that, they may work a little bit because there's certain things that are still happening, but somebody who was just rapping about how many chains he got, or rapping about how good of a rapper he is, which is what a lot of the 80s and early 90s was just, this is how good of a rapper I am. Nobody wants to hear that. And so with something like gospel, R&B, country, I'm assuming, like you said, with Latin music, a lot of that stuff is it's universal and it's over time. You always gonna sing about love. You always gonna sing about hating your ex or whatever. Those are always gonna be themes that are gonna forever stick with you. But if you get an OG who's just, his whole thing was just rapping about like his technical ability, that's not what's selling. That like we've talked about, we've made jokes. That's not gonna get the girls dancing in the club. Right. So it's because hip hop has prided itself on being a telling of the times, that when an OG who may not be able to adapt like a Jay-Z, and you see Jay-Z hasn't even done a project, it's just been features that he's done. So it's like, it's easy to just, okay, I can take a snapshot of what's going on right now and rap about that. I'm not saying that Jay-Z can't, but maybe he or somebody of his age can't do a whole album of what's going on in the current times, because maybe they out of tune. Not saying that Jay-Z is, but maybe that's what some people of his generation kind of feel. And then the kids ain't making it no better, because anytime you run through playing Wu-Tang or Tribe Called Quest, only thing that I've seen has last group-wise has been Outkast. That's like the only like 90s that people like, oh no, I still rock with that. But like some of the older guys, it's like, because you were rapping about what was going on at that time, to them, it's not going to relate to 2022. G-Baby, what you think?
It's just because hip hop is still so new, and then it's always been a divide. Like there's always East versus West, where it started. Like there's no central just like unity. And then plus, like you said, with the message, it's like, yeah, we're rapping about how hard it is in the project, how hard it is getting harassed by police and seeing this and that. In that era, it's like when Tupac dies, there's no flag carrier. It's like it immediately goes money, cash, hoes. So that's the sound. So moving forward, you've got people like Nas, who were 26, 27 at the time, that are old heads. Because it's like, bro, you still talking this, sit back to Africa, we got to do better. It's like, nah, we talking about miracle whips. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about right now. So it's like you get further behind, and then you start getting the people that are like The Game and stuff, that you're like, bro, you're 40 and you're still trying to sound like you're 17 or 18. It's like you're chasing a sound. It's not cool anymore. It's like you can't go back to the super gangbanging rap, because that's not it. You can't go to the pop because you can't dance, you can't sing. There's a stigmatism about that. So it's like you're stuck in your ways. You either try and fail, or it's just like you fall by the wayside and be that old head. Nobody kind of like carries them through like Dr. Dre did. It was like, hey, here's Snoop, this the new sound. And he ushered him in. So we all love Snoop. Then it was like people didn't like him at first, but Dre stuck with him, and it ushered in a new sound. Kendrick, same deal, but it's like now there's so many different people doing this, that, and the other. It's like, why would I go ever try to hear The Game make an NBA Youngboy drill album where I can hear Lil Durk? It's more relevant. It sounds more authentic. And it's like, it's current. Everybody's listening. It sounds better. Yeah. And then you said with Outkast, it's like, yeah, Outkast stays, but it's more of the going back. It's like, see, Stankonia was the one that kind of like, everybody goes, okay, oh, I love this, I love that. When you get somebody that's like Shrimp on the Barbie, you be like, all right, they either a super fan or they're a super hipster. There's really no reason for anybody to go back and listen to Aquemini now, when you got 21 Savage out there, and you got Kodak and all them. It's like, why? It's not the same message. I'm hearing it, but it sounds better. It's more updated for my ears. You get what I'm saying? This isn't the same Atlanta that they talking about. So it's like, what am I trying? Am I trying to be a historian, or am I trying to just pass along with the times? Yeah. And that's just the thing, is because you get this hate, because like what you said, Zoo, with the Daddy Yankee, it had to be just whatever. It was basic. Daddy Yankee's just rapping. He's got the beats. It's this. So anybody forward is like, yeah, it's better, but you're not paying homage. That's the thing, is you're like, oh yeah, I'm better than Daddy Yankee. I'm better than, like, yeah, you may be better production-wise, lyrically, money sales, but it's like, you're still a copy of him.
Yeah, you ain't the first.
You're not the first. That's where that goes. Where it's like, oh, we hate the old heads. Because even what was it? Young Thug was talking all that shit about Andre 3000.
Yeah, he didn't grow up listening to him.
It's like that's impossible. That is impossible to be in Atlanta and listen to 3 Stacks. That's all y'all had.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, I think that's why Daddy Yankee lasts, because that he was the first of his type.
Right.
In so many senses. Yeah.
But there's nobody now, because you're like Chief Keef. He's the first drill rapper. Everybody loves him, but it's like that's not his main thing no more.
Nah.
Especially not. You rarely get in the Keef verse now.
Yeah.
Even a Keef song. So it's like you don't know what to do. And then once you age out 25 to 30, I mean, you're pretty much done. Like, what else do you got to talk about? You either gonna cry on this one or go pop.
Yeah. I think another thing is also with those other genres of music, a lot of times they were introduced through their parents. Like this was acceptable to play around the house. I told y'all multiple times, I didn't really get into hip hop until like 8th, 9th grade, because it was Christian, it was clean R&B, Michael Jackson, stuff like that. That's all that was getting played at my house personally. So like somebody like me, like I'm gonna always be with Michael Jackson. I'm gonna always stick with Usher. I'm gonna always stick with whoever else, because that was what was allowed to be played. It was so many parents, nah, you ain't playing this devil music in my house. So growing up, you don't hear old school Jay-Z. You don't hear Biggie, Tupac until you get away from under your parents' wing. Country lovers been listening to Dolly Parton since they was in the womb. So like when Miley comes around and is like, hey, I got a song with y'all, OG, a 12-year-old knows exactly who Dolly Parton is. A 12-year-old knows exactly who Daddy Yankee is, because it's just one of those, their parents allowed them to also absorb other types of music, because hip hop had such a stigma in the 80s, 90s, even the early 2000s, when all this crazy violence was going on. They was, oh, blame the music. Nobody blamed R&B for anything. So that's besides pregnancies, that was what was allowed to be played, and that's what was allowed to be shown. So it does make a lot of sense why like the older generations aren't getting as much love in comparison to other brands of music, because their fans are weren't allowing their kids to listen, or if you getting hooked to their music, it's way later on. And by the time you get hooked to their music, like you said, there's a young boy around the corner. There's a Kodak Black that I can listen to. So your 4 albums may be considered classics, but this is what's popping right now.
Exactly.
So,
and then it's the cosign too. Like I was saying with Dre and them, it's not like these young cats are out here and Andre's just like, oh, Young Thug, I love his music, blah, blah, blah. They're not just doing that. It's just, all right, I'm finna throw a name at the wall and just say, fuck 50 Cent. And if he responds, oh, he washed bitter old head, I could beat it. And that's how you're getting your platform. Oh, he came at 50 Cent, but it's like, did you really come at 50 Cent, or are you just mad about something?
Yeah.
You know, don't meet your heroes, as they always say.
True. Does this also go back to just where the state of music is at in general? Because when we were talking, obviously we've talked multiple times about the state of R&B, and we've all agreed that we don't believe it's dead, but a lot has to be said about the machine behind a lot of these artists is non-existent. There isn't a huge push if you don't already have that viral song or that viral whatever, and labels are like, well, why should we take the time to build you up? Like somebody like a Usher, somebody like a Chris Brown, obviously Michael Jackson, they've been in industries for years before we heard them. Usher was signed at like 11 years old. Like, but they took the time to mold his sound, to figure out what type of lane. There's like an 8-year gap between his first album and his second album. They took the time to like, okay, this is what we're going to do to get you to this point. Now, okay, we're going to throw you in this show. We're going to let you do this little guest star here and there, so you can build, so people get used to your face. And then now when the album is dropping, now it's signed. Now
I know who
that people knew about. People knew about Chris Brown back in the 90s before we even, or the super early 2000s before we even knew about him. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like there isn't a camp. There isn't like a camp anymore, like where people are really like, okay, we're gonna sit here and mold this sound, whether it's rap, R&B, whatever. So I think there is also another thing where we're not seeing, like we seen Lil Baby in a Young Thug video like 3 years before he ever dropped his own music. But that's rare. Like you don't see that as much. You don't see a future star in another current star's whatever, even if he or she's not talking, if they're just there to like, hey, get used to this face, they're here for a reason. So I think I think it's a lot, obviously, because of how people came up and the fact that hip hop prides itself on being current, and so it's really no room for old men, but also because these camps aren't molding and continuously pushing people to be timeless. They're pushing people to be viral right now.
And then it's the ease of making music, because you can make a sound on TikTok that blow up and they'll give you a 4-track EP that you'll make 30 G's off of and go into the studio. Now you got a 7-track album that don't nobody care because you're the kid, you're yodeling kid from TikTok. Like, who gives a shit about this dude? It's like, it's just so much money just circulating that it wasn't back then. So it was like, all right, we got this R&B dude, Usher. We gonna throw the house at him. And if it don't work, that's it. And it worked. But now you got, oh, there's this guy, he's good for an album. That's a quick cash grab. Throw him $2 million, he'll owe us the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Or here's this. And you have a million little this, little this, little this. It's like, damn, it's a whole lot of people making music and it's not necessarily good.
Yeah.
It's not even for the love of the game no more. It's just a cash grab.
Yeah. And one more thing before Sue continues. Another thing, like you said, with R&B is that because the people who are currently like on top of R&B are still so relatively young, like Usher's not even 50. I don't think Chris Brown is even 35. So like anybody else, he's been 30 forever. But anybody who comes out and is like, hey, I can sing and I can dance. Oh, you're just a copycat of so-and-so. It's unfair because back when Mike and James Brown, like, it was a bunch of people who was singing and dancing. It was just the ones who was at the top was at the top. But boy band, black boy band groups are basically non-existent. Yeah. You can't, there aren't any really successful solo R&B acts who can also dance. They've all moved to acting. Trevor Jackson, Jacob Lattimore, everybody's supposed to be the next, this, that, and the third. They can't just be themselves. You are young, you can dance, you black, you obviously the next Chris Brown. And that screws them over because I can't just be myself. Now I gotta be always compared to Chris Brown, who ain't, like we said, been 30 for the last 10 years. So like he's
I'm gonna beat
not
him to 35.
Basically, he's not gonna age out of his brand of music. So it's just tough. Zoo, what do you like kind of attest a lot of it going down to?
Well, mine was actually like a sincere question because I was thinking about it as I was like prepping for this concert, and I was just kind of reminiscing on like all these old songs, and I was like, yo, you could still put on well, like you said, Daddy Yankee was like the first to do it, but you could. There's a lot of places where like if you go to like a Caucasian, I usually don't go, but like if you go to a white bar and you put on like old songs like from the like 90s and like people go crazy, you put on the Bon Jovis, people go crazy. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen at like if you go to a club that primarily plays rap, because you know you could play a Hypnotize or
DMX or something,
you know, a Juice or something, and everybody will go crazy, you know. But I feel like it was more common in white bars, because I feel like I said a couple months ago, that trend went popular where the moms were showing their daughters primarily that like the Backstreet Boys, the NSYNCs, the Spice Girls and whatnot. And the kids were like, "Oh my God, this is good." And we're on the flip side, I could see them playing like a Jay-Z Hard Knock Life. And kids being like, yo, what is this? Like, can you turn this off, please? Like, you know, it's like, all right, we could stop this now, Mom. Right. It's not even going viral. But so it was like a legitimate question I had, because I was like, I wonder what plays part. But I did agree with Rico with the whole like the content is like, for some of these other genres, it's just like, I'm gonna make a love song, and everyone from the beginning of time to the end of time, someone's going to be in love, or someone's going to be heartbroken, or someone's going to be like that. Whereas like we said with Eminem, how come people don't like Eminem anymore? If you even listen to his older stuff, it's like if I play an Eminem song from my 13-year-old cousin, 14-year-old cousins, they're not even going to get it, because he makes like Christina Aguilera references, he makes Fred Durst references, he makes all these references that like, if they don't know, because I didn't teach them about what was going on in the 2000s, or early 2000s, they're going to be lost. They might like the beat or they might like the hook, but like during the verse, they're going to be like, I don't know what he's talking about, because I don't know any of these people he's mentioned.
Right.
I've had moments where I've had to research like certain references, because I'm like, what was going on like back? So I can only imagine like you said, a 13-year-old trying to like really be hip to what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did agree with Rico on that point. And on both points, the content mainly that takes part in it. And I'm not trying to say that like there aren't young fans that like old hip hop fans. I don't know if you guys remember, like it was like a month ago, I showed you those white girls when they
British
asked
kids.
them like the Outcast, and they gave you like the most obscure Outcast song. What was it? Was it Herbs and
Crumbling Herbs?
Crumbling Herbs.
Yeah.
I was like,
Rico
whoa.
was like, oh, that's the worst song ever made. I was, huh?
I did.
It's the best song ever made.
So obviously there are still kids that enjoy the older genre, but I just feel like, and it could be maybe I'm just skewed off Twitter, that whenever someone posts it's automatically, oh, it's trash or it's mid or it's an old head or like Game. 50 Cent, we could go on to it, but 50 Cent was making fun of Game for only selling 18,000 his first week or whatever. And so it's one of those things.
50.
It's like, well, yeah, because like 50 doesn't make music anymore, and I'm sure 50, as big as he is, and kids know who 50 Cent is mainly because of his shows and his antics on social media that he goes viral all the time. But I'm sure if 50 Cent drops an album, I don't think he'll do. He might do more than Game, but I don't think he does more than 50K.
He won't do. He'll do like 35. That's like
and I think he knows that it's one of those like, why would I continue to put out drug making music or drug whatever music? It's like I haven't been in that life in 25 years, and so it's kind of like, so it's like what would be the point?
I mean, and like his last big songs were like Hate Being Sober, but because he was with Chief Keef, who's huge at the time, and he was with Wiz Khalifa, or We Up when he was on the song with Kendrick, and Kendrick was huge at the time. That was good kid music, or with Pop Smoke, where even kids were saying when they heard Many Men by 50 Cent, they were like, they thought that was a new song. They were like, yo, why is he trying to copy off Pop Smoke? And I was like,
wow.
That's when I knew I was old. That's when I knew I was like, all right, I might have to step out this rap game. It might be the end of my time here.
Bro,
it's like one of those things, like what I just said right now, that just came like out of nowhere. But like in rap, you could feel old. Like there's sometimes when I listen, like I think I saw yesterday that that new rapper Yeet just outsold like Lil Baby, and I've never heard one Yeet song. And if I did, I couldn't be able to name it. And it's one of those things where you're like, dang, I'm getting old. But when I go with my little cousins, I could talk about the Olivia Rodrigo, because like even if she's whatever 18, 19, she makes love songs, and I'd be sad all the time. So I know what they be talking about. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a good song, because I get it, and it's like, all right, it's a love song, and who cares if it's a 18, 19-year-old making it? It's a love song. I'm gonna be sad. The Billie Eilish is. I hear them when I babysit them. They play Billie Eilish, and I'm like, oh, this is a good song. It's a love song. And then when I hear my friends, they'll like send me, like my younger friends, especially when I from work, they'll try to put me on with like newer rappers, and I'm like, bro, I don't do lean anymore. I don't do these drugs anymore. I don't really party as much as I used to. Like I go to concerts, but I haven't been in the club in a while, months.
You grow out
so
of
it's
it.
Like, so yeah,
free now.
Yeah. So it's like I'm not saying it's bad. I don't want to say it's bad because then you sound like the old head. But it's like it's just not for me anymore. So I'm getting out of the like I said, the rap game. Whereas like a pop song, I can still listen to it and be like, yo, this is good.
Right.
You know, like Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, like their song was like basically tributes to the 80s. But all these kids love it.
Yeah,
Same thing with The Weeknd's new album. It's a tribute to the 80s. He was doing the whole Mike Jack look and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the kids love it because it's a love song. So you don't have to be any genre to get it. My mom loves Bruno Mars. My mom's been begging me to go to a Bruno Mars concert. I'm like, he just hasn't came. I'm like, what do you want me to do? And it's like, and I like Bruno Mars, and I'm pretty sure if I told her, like, hey mom, go with my 13-year-old cousin to the Bruno Mars concert, they would both have equally as much fun.
Yes.
Where if I tell them, hey, let's go to the new 50 Cent concert, they're gonna be like, I don't even know who that is. Both of them will be like, I don't know who that is. Or the new Lil Baby concert or whatever. They're gonna be like, I have no idea who this person is.
Yeah.
I get both points.
Eras are definitely a interesting thing. But G baby, you also had a question. Talk
Yeah.
to us. What you got?
Let me strap myself into the electric chair.
All right.
Before I say anything, I do love all women and all women I like them.
Oh God,
But
This is
does a
bad.
woman's presence
he's trying to make up for
intensify a
Andrew Tate.
situation?
Wait, what you say, Zoo?
He's trying to make up for Andrew Tate's absence.
No, I am not. Absolutely not. But I was talking to one of our, kind of debating with one of our viewers.
Okay.
Does a woman's presence intensify a situation?
Like a fight? Yeah.
See, you threw that out, but like just in general.
In general,
Just-
yeah, you could say that.
It depends because go ahead, Zoo.
Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I mean, like we've seen the meme, like the Drewski skits
You're right.
that he makes when you're like, oh, like how your boy acts when there's around girls, and he's like starts acting tough and like he'll start dissing you for no reason. He'll like shove
Right.
you
Yeah.
or whatever.
You got my shirt on. Why are you doing this? Like,
I remember my favorite line is, "Hey, you got chance for $6,000, bro."
Yeah. So people do act different around women. They might do things that you normally wouldn't do. Like if you're with your boys, like you say, you're just with your boys, and it's like a dance song comes on, you might not dance to it around your boys, but if there's women presence, you might start, doing a little two-step, doing a little something,
and that's
trying to get them to dance and whatnot. Or like we said, if there's a fight and you're by yourself, or maybe you're one or two of your homeboys, maybe it's not, if it's something minor,
you would walk
it's
away.
like, all right, I'm not trying to do anything. Like I'm just trying to go about my day. But if there's women around and the women, you see them staring, or maybe they making them a remark like "dang" or something like that. Now it's like, damn, I can't look. When we were in middle school, when we were in middle school and high school, it's like, all right, it's gym class. Let me shoot this 3-pointer from half court.
Thank you.
Because the girl's sitting on the sideline.
Point is proven.
I mean, even think about like the barbershop culture. Like normal barbershop culture, there's certain things you don't talk about when women are around. Like I remember I was in high school and my mom used to always take me to go get my haircut. This one day I decided I went on my own. And my barber, I've never, mind you, every single time I went, she was there. I had never heard him talk like this. I may have been like 9th grade, and he talked. And I'm like letting it fly. So like he caught me off guard because it didn't register that it was no women around. And he said it. He was like, when your mom is here, when your sister is here, nobody talks like this, but it's just us. So I don't think it intensifies the situation, but I do think they can alter a lot of stuff because it's like, it all depends on, like you said, you got change for $6,000 or what, like we said, let me see if I can shoot this hoe from outside. But it's one of those like.
But that's the thing, is like if you play fighting with your boy,
and
that's
too much.
It's all fun. Now it's the same hit was all fun. Now that a chick's here, hey bro, stop hitting me so hard, bro. I'm tired of your shit. You be know that it's different.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's a lot different. And I don't know if it's just the male ego thing or if it's just because a lot of them don't be doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
But it's just the presence of it. And like I said, it's any remark that's gonna be like, all right.
The pheromones in the air.
Is that more on the men or the women? Because it's like you could easily, like Zeus said, you could easily, all right, I'm gonna still walk away from this situation because it's 5 of them and only 1 of me, and I am not a Power Ranger. But now, like you said, oh, you gonna let so and so see now I gotta try to be Bruce Leroy and
it's on the men. It's on the men because we're insecure, we're ego driven, and this, that, and the other. But it's that fact that it's not just in those situations, but like, just say like your girl's getting into it, or you getting into it and your girl step up. It's like, all right, now we gotta go there because she's involved. And even though
there was a video I've seen about that, or like dudes with catcall, and like you like, okay, it's 5 of them, it's just me and you, let's go. But she turns around and starts talking, and now it's like
now you have to,
and
now you have to go down swinging. Because then it's gonna be argued there. And even though she's in the best of best, she wants to protect you and do this, that, and the other. It's just you being a woman is just different. You see what I'm saying? It's just like because you wanted to get tough, and now it's like instead of me fighting the one dude, now I gotta fight everybody. You know what I'm saying? And now niggas be hitting women, so now you gonna get beat up.
Yeah.
So it's like, was it really worth the cat call?
So to answer your question, yes, the presence of a woman can have niggas really acting out of
Yes,
pocket.
thank you.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
that's
Chalk that one up for a W.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm assuming.
Who
Oh,
was
go
the
ahead.
one? Who was the one? Because my thing is, and we're not blaming women for this. It's like you said, it's niggas not having no self-control. But it's like, what was the person you were debating with? What was their point
Yeah.
of view of the whole
I'm
situation?
assuming it was someone from the opposite gender.
Right. Yes, it was somebody of the opposite. But they were saying that they had a little her parents had a little altercation with the neighbor.
Okay.
And her sister said something.
Okay.
And so it kind of made her man like, all right, now I gotta say something. Now her dad's gotta take it to this next level.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, because it's women present. Like if it was just them two, it's like, oh yeah, fuck you, go about your business. But because my daughter jumped, now it's on.
I mean, think of the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock situation.
Exactly.
So it's like, and he says out of his own mouth that she didn't tell him to go up there, but he looks and sees that she called herself offended. Now I got to do something that's completely out of my character in the 45-year career that I've said when it made. I got to sit there and throw all of that away because my rib is hurt. So it's one of those like, yes, women, the presence of women make dudes do stuff that they normally wouldn't do because it's just like we have no common sense outside of anything else. And it's one of those, oh, I'm gonna look like this in front of her, and she just want to get home safely sometimes. But you feel that you gotta be Thor and the Hulk all wrapped into one. So yeah, it's definitely a lot on the men, but yeah, the presence of a woman definitely can have men doing some out of pocket things that is just out of their character. Because now you didn't set yourself up for failure. Because if you didn't sit there and try to go 1 on 25 one time, now you got to try to do it every single time. She ain't seen you get whooped 4 different times.
Yeah,
because
and that's gotta take its toll.
it's like, sir,
It's
you
like,
need to just maybe you need to convert to Islam or something. You need to choose peace.
Like, nigga, put your hands down. Like, just unball that.
Like,
give me that. Just unball it.
Go hug somebody.
I done whooped your ass 3 times this month, bro. Like, how many times I gotta teach you this lesson?
How many times you gotta teach you this lesson, old man?
You gonna fight 6 of us at least. Just keep stepping.
Yeah. Come on, I don't run alone. Why do you keep saying yourself
why do you
up for
keep
this?
doing this? I was like, you keep doing yourself like this. Focus on yourself.
Focus on yourself. Oh man. Oh, we were talking about 50 before we got to the second question. Apparently, rapper 50 Cent had to ban R&B singer Trey Songz from his tycoon events because basically Trey Songz been acting out of pocket around women. Apparently,
I heard
he's been out here. No, I heard he's like Keke Palmer. A few years ago, came out and was like, "Hey, this dude is weird," and then people was like, "Nah, you tripping? It's Trey Songz. The man who made Dive In would never do X, Y, and Z." And all of a sudden, year by year, more and more weird things have come out. Yeah, more and more weird things have come out about Trey Songz, and people like, okay, maybe she wasn't tweaking. And 50 Cent, of all people, Mr. King of Controversy, Mr. Troll, Mr. I do what I want when I want, is like, all right, this nigga is tripping. He is no. He said the first time he crashed, let me read this caption actually. The last tycoon he crashed a Wraith. This tycoon he was acting crazy, wanting to fight and ish over girls. He broke some stuff in his room. Man, tell Trey Songz he can't come. You got Curtis Jackson saying, "Sir, you are out of pocket." 50 Cent got really 5. 50 Cent got 5 shows about murder, and he's saying, "You know what, Trey?
50 Cent is not. If 50 Cent tell you out of pocket, you need to go turn yourself in.
Absolutely.
Like you absolutely need to turn yourself in.
Facts. Doesn't he have like 50 Cent? He gets like sued every other week.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's like, Trey Songz, I'm not getting sued over you, sir.
Yeah. They said in the article, they was like 50 and Trey were once friends at some point back in 2019. The 2 men shared their fun hotel room antics on social media. They talked about when he tried to replace Joe on Big Rich Town, and everybody was like, "Nah, don't do that." And then it was like, nevertheless, Trey Songz has been plagued by numerous lawsuits of alleged sexual misconduct over the past several years. However, some of them have been dismissed. So Trey needs to go to therapy or something. He needs to go talk to Iyanla. He needs to show up to a red table talk. I don't know what he needs to do. He needs to stop because 50 has officially said you are going too far.
But what do you do for like the sex people like that? Like not the sex offender, but the people that really like are handsy, don't really know when no is no. Like you can't just send them to therapy because that doesn't never seem to work.
My thing is that it gets to a certain point where there should be like time that needs to be put behind. Like you need to go to jail. Like I don't know. Like it gets to a certain because all right. One time it can be okay. This was a miscommunication. I thought it was okay, but once you become like a serial sexual misconductor, it's all right, bro. You need to go to jail.
Like, you're a sex offender. Like you're a sex
offender. Like yes, like you need to sit still for a minute because there's only so many times. Because like I mean, think about how many times we've heard in the workplace about some dude who was higher up had 5 interns saying that they felt uncomfortable around him and nothing has been done. It gets to a certain point where if we keep seeing your name in the news, all right, dog, you got to do something because
it's for something. It's like you always doing something.
Because like one, it's like okay, like obviously all these are happening, and maybe we haven't gotten everything that's happened. Maybe he's like actually done some I'm not trying to put it on him. Like take Trey Songz out of it, just anybody in general. Like maybe they've already done something crazy, and it's like, but it just hasn't been brought to light, or maybe that hasn't happened yet. But it's basically leading up to it. It's the serial killer that is a kid and is killing like bunnies and shit, and like ants and like enjoying doing the magnifying thing, the ants, and like just stomping out insects for no reason. They're not even in your house. They're like in the middle of the woods. And you're out here killing.
He went outside with a fly swatter.
He brought a weapon outside.
Fact. And it's like so it's like it's giving you the little clues, and that eventually leads up to the serial killer. In this case, who would be it's like, all right, he's been, like you said, the work boss. Maybe he hasn't done anything like that's like assault, like full blown assault, but he is getting handsy. He is like grabbing him by the waist and like asking him out to dinner. And it's like, all right, they're just an intern. They said no the first time, and you're still doing it and this is like your 6th intern of the year.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, yeah, you have to be 1, fired, and 2, in the Trey Songz case, he got fired basically, and then 2, we have to take a look or like deep down, maybe not a full year, but hey, we're giving you 3 months at least, like to tell you like, yo,
we just need you to sit down, like you need to sit down, bro.
Like, because you get like, I can see like, okay, the first one, slap on the wrist, fine, if depending on what it is.
Yeah, but
2 is already 1 too much.
Absolutely,
1 is 1 too much. So when you be like 4 or 5 cases, you be like, all right.
Yeah, because it's like we just said, it's one of those things where like the first time you can always chalk it up to, okay, I read too deep into something and she wasn't feeling it, and so it's like, okay, miscommunication. But like, all right, now, bro, you got 12 different women across 12 different states saying you out here acting up. Can't all of them be lying?
I mean, even if half of them lying, there's still 6 too many.
That's still 6 that you tripping. Like, come on, dog. Like, so I don't know when, and then obviously celebrity. So it's one of those things where it's like everything's gonna be a slap on the wrist to him anyway. Like not getting invited to a tycoon meeting, it's like, oh, his life is over. But it's one of those like you need people to start standing up. Like if there's not enough, like the fact that 50 went out of his way to specify, hey, he out here trying to fight women. It's like, hey, if he come to y'all events, be on the lookout for that. Cause I warned y'all. I'm a businessman at this point. I can't be having the whole scared to come to my events. So it's one of those things where now you should have known when Keke Palmer said it, but now for a fact, you got one of his peers coming out saying this dude is weird. And what you gonna do to 50? So 50 ain't got no reason to lie. No. So it's one of those, like, if you consistently inviting him to your situation, like if he's at the next Jay-Z brunch, it's like, okay, you clearly missed all the signs. You went out of your way to ignore every single warning that has been put out.
Whatever happens here, it's on you.
It's on you.
Like, told you in advance, like, hey, he liked to cut people in half at this party. So when he show up, and it's a lot of half people walking around, we told you. We told you. Don't get mad.
We told you.
Don't get mad.
Don't be upset now that you got to clean everything up. We tried to warn you.
You deal with the police. We told you what was going to happen. You didn't listen.
Yeah, it's basically the person you don't invite. We all know people that's like, nah, don't invite him because he's gonna like turn this good time into a fight.
You'll get drunk and fight. And when he gets drunk and fight, I ain't inviting him. You shouldn't invite him in here.
Yeah.
Like, we told you not to invite him.
Yeah, it'd be one of those things. It's like I warned you not to answer that phone call because it was gonna be some BS. And what happened? Some BS. So like,
mad as hell. I told you. You should have listened.
Mad. I've had to get on that with my. I've had to get on that with my lady a few times because it'll be something going.
That
on.
one
like,
auntie.
It's something.
One auntie with the drama.
It's something. I'm like, bro. I tell her, I'm like, bro, don't go over there. Don't answer the call. Don't do this, that, and the third. What she do? She go and she come back like, I got a rant. I'm like, do you really have to? Because I told you. And then like, and that happened like maybe 1 or 2 times. And then the next time they call, I'm like, look, I just kind of gave her a look. I'm like, hey, she ain't answer the call. I'm like, see, we learning. We getting there.
Tense as hell.
Now we had a good day.
He goes to this. Oh man, she's right. Nah, you should have went. Yeah, you she was wrong.
So yeah, man. Definitely something obviously needs to happen, and it's one of those things where who's going to set the precedent? Who's going to be the one to like? Because obviously 50 was the first I should say male that has called him out, be like, hey, bro, own one. So is it like what do we see coming from this? Do we see anything stemming from this? Is he just kind of like sit back and just be like, all right, I'm gonna just sit down because I ain't had one too many get out of jail free cards, and I'm one mistake away from somebody having screenshots or something, and I'm going to jail for a minute.
If 50 Cent is getting you up out of here like that, then yeah, there's a lot of evidence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because there's cameras everywhere. I'm pretty sure he didn't silence a lot of people with a couple thousands.
Yeah.
Let me see that phone.
We're gonna have to hold that for you. It's a Wi-Fi dead zone as soon as you walk into the room.
Like, this ain't put on an EMP in here. What the hell?
Oh man, what we got next on the docket?
Ye versus Kim.
Zoo, come on now, let's go.
Can't talk about it.
Nah. Wait a minute. Where's this Donda 2 at?
It's coming. This is the rollout.
This is rollout. All of this craziness.
He was in the group chat. Oh, it's here. I told you, Rico. Yeah. I told you, Rico.
Hey, I just looked at the phone. I'm like, you're gonna keep letting yourself get hurt.
That's why he said all the time.
I gave him that look. I'm like, all right, now I told you.
I told you.
It's coming.
Let's speak. All right, then. How about this? Speak on your idol's rollout of this here album. Let's word it like that so you feel better.
Well, I think a couple of days ago, Kanye took to Instagram, his social media of choice.
Yeah.
At least for the time being.
Side note, he's the only one Instagram still works properly for. Anybody else, you can't get nothing. You can't get no looks, no views. You got 900 followers, only 12 of them see it. He the only one that Instagram still works for. But continue.
And first he started going on a little mini rant with Kim because he doesn't want his children. Kanye made a school,
right?
Called Donda Academy in California, and I heard he's trying to make one here in Chicago, or he's already building one here in Chicago as well. But regardless of that, and he wants his kids to go to his school, which is like, it makes sense. I built a whole entire school with teachers and professors and sports activities. I would want my children to attend it.
Yeah,
of course.
It's like LeBron. I'm sure he'd want his kids to go to his. Well, I guess his school's in Akron, but if he still lived in Akron, I'm sure he would have sent them there.
Yeah.
But regardless, and Kim sends them to I'll say Sierra. I was like, should I say, should I not? But this is where all the celebrity kids go to. They go to Sierra Canyon. Everybody's. If you're a celebrity, that's where 9 times out of 10 your kid attends said school. If you live in LA, so he didn't want him to go there. He wants him to go to, like I said, his school. So he took to Instagram because I'm sure he wasn't getting the results he wanted through regular text. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna apply pressure on you by, women love being applied pressure,
justifying
when it doesn't benefit them.
Mm-hmm.
But he applied pressure basically and put it on Instagram. And I remember, I think it was either yesterday or this morning. I want to say maybe yesterday. He put it on Instagram again saying, all right, mine and Kim's situation has been resolved. He made like one little tweet. One little Instagram post. about that. So I guess his kids will be attending his school at least half the time, because I think his compromise was 2 days his school and 3 days
How
her
do you
school or whatever.
rich people
That is
just,
so stupid.
how do you even do that?
That's
You
rich
know
people
what?
things. I mean, you can. I only know you can, especially when you're this level of famous, because, like I said, I'm pretty sure I brought it up. I've been listening to that Boy Meets World podcast,
Mhm.
and they all went. They're all from Cali except one of them, and they said they would go to school, a separate school, like actor, where they'd have their own, like, so they could be on set more.
Mhm.
So they go to a closer school for 3 days out of the week, and then on, I think he said they'd say Thursday, Friday, they'd go to their regular school,
Mm.
something like that.
I guess,
So that's
but it's
what they
like,
would do. So I'm assuming it's the same premise. Where they'd
okay,
go to. So they'll, yeah, it's rich people teens,
okay, Kanye.
That's so stupid.
That's so stupid.
and
Why is
so that's why I know it's possible, because of that podcast. So that's what he wants to attend. And then his most latest rant, well, that the main rant he's been going on with the last couple of days is he said this before, like a couple months ago, where Adidas is taking basically his designs,
Yeah,
and just making them slightly different,
secondary,
and then still,
cheaper options?
yeah, cheaper options. I mean, we sell them at Dick's Sporting Goods, some of, like, the Adidas brand ones, and they look just like, I was even talking to, because we got them in a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to one of the people there, and I was like, bro, you got the Feezys, and they cost like $100, whereas like the Kanye ones cost like two something.
A liver.
So and the slides cost like $30, where the Kanye ones cost 70. And so it's basically the exact same thing, just slightly modified, so they can't say it's a complete steal.
Mhm.
And then that way they make their money off people who don't want to buy the Yeezy ones that get put out sporadically, so they're not always on the shelves. These are always on the shelves.
I mean, why is he even surprised? Nike does the same thing. Nike has they got like certain Nikes that look like Mike's, but they're technically Air Force or whatever, or like even like their secondary hooping shoes, a lot of them are modeled after their signature line. So it's
he went on a rant with Nike too a while ago, because the Kyrie ones look like the original Yeezys, like the Nike Yeezys.
Mm-hmm.
Who
they look just like them.
That looked like the Red October. Somebody just got that new shoe.
Was it an athlete?
I think so. It was like,
I think so.
Basketball player, I think.
Yeah, it was all
That
red.
new
I
shoe,
remember.
Yeah, it looked just like the Red October.
It was probably Kyrie.
like
I said, his are basically modeled off it. All they had to do was make it red. So he has so it's one of those things that he's basically going at the CEO or the general manager or whatever he is of Adidas. His name is something Cherry the Third, Daniel Cherry the Third. That's what it is, and that's who he was going on his main rant with. But I think that what set him off is, at least according to like his IG post, is Kanye was hanging out with Uzi, and Uzi's from Philly, and this dude Daniel Cherry is from Philly as well. And Daniel Cherry said to Kanye in front of Uzi, like, "Oh, if I was still like in the streets, like I was when I was in high school or something, like you would have got these hands or something. Like I would have sent like people after you or something like that." Like they got into an argument, and like basically like the women thing, he was trying to punk Kanye in front of Uzi.
He's trying to
basically because Uzi's from Philly, and like we've all heard that Uzi's from the streets. No, but like Uzi's from like
they say Uzi was like in the streets.
Like, yeah, like he's a hitter. Like don't mess with Uzi in Philly. So basically, I guess he was trying to act tough in front of Uzi.
Are you proud, Uzi?
Kanye off.
With a diamond in his forehead.
That's hilarious.
And so Kanye got mad, and that's why he's been like flaming. He's the main person he's been flamed. I don't know if they're gonna fire this dude. I'd assume so, because Kanye posted
before Kanye go to New Balance.
Yeah, every CEO that worked at Adidas, Kanye posted them yesterday, and then this morning he took them all off, and he posted like, "All right, you see, they left you stranded. They all hit me up and apologized to me. Now no one's on your side, blah blah blah." So I'm assuming this is gonna get fired eventually.
Yeah,
he's probably gonna try to sue Adidas though, because he's gonna be like, "Oh, I got fired because of Kanye or whatever." I didn't do anything wrong.
You threatened our top earner. Like, what did you expect was gonna happen?
Yeah, that
like,
could be a thing too. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that's basically it. And in coming days, he's also gonna go on. He's already told us, like in these posts, he'll be like,
He told you to schedule it.
yeah, he says it in the post. He's like, right now I'm on this dude. He's like, don't worry, Gap, I'm coming for you after, because Gap released
too, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's been throwing the little Kid Cudi shade.
Wait, what happened with Gap? I thought they was cool.
They just released the shirt that looks like his Donda shirts, but without the you know how he has the bird in the back?
Yeah.
It's without that. But it still says Gap, and it's still like the bigger fitted
Team Yeezy
shirt. Yeah. So he's like, he's going like, don't worry, Gap, I'm coming for you next. Don't worry, Gap, I'm coming for you next. Like, at the end of every post, he posts that. He's like, don't worry, Gap, I'm coming. So I'm pretty sure Gap is scrambling right now because Gap was basically off the face of the earth.
He brought him back.
This.
Yeah. They tracking every customer down and ripping the shirt off their body as we speak. Like, no refunds. No refunds.
Fact. So right now we're getting that with this Adidas dude. That basically right now I'm still getting, like, as we're potting, I'm getting notifications on this, like, because he's posting right now because I have notifications on
live from Chicago.
And I don't know
with the latest report.
The only reason I can't report this is I'm doing this on my phone, and I don't know if I back out of this, it'll like completely exit me out.
Yeah,
so I don't want to do that, especially since I'm outside my crib. But so I don't want to do that right now. But yeah, I keep seeing it. I don't know if he says something against. I doubt it, because one of them was a picture of the DJ Khaled album, and another one was of the game. So I don't know. Hopefully, he's probably gonna be like, "Oh, I love you guys" or something. But you know, it's one of those teams. It's a crazy time to be a Kanye fan, but you know, Donda 2 is on the way. The whole system just to follow the reports.
All right. Speaking of something that we know for sure, speaking of some music that we know for sure came out and was released and whatnot, G Baby and his brother went to the Wu-Tang concert.
Ooh,
how was that?
The Nas Wu-Tang concert.
Nas Wu-Tang.
Nas, I'm sorry, Nas and Wu-Tang.
I was very excited for the experience. It was a little let down.
Oh,
I was,
what?
Little hurt. No Method Man. No Method Man. So I was like, oh, already off rip. I was like, man. But I don't know. The enthusiasm just really wasn't in the building. I was like, you know, I mean, I was getting hyped, but then it was like they came out and it was like RZA introduced everybody. But it was like they were doing like their joints. Like as soon as they came out, like when he introduced Ghostface, he introduced him and he off rip did Mighty Healthy. I was like, that's supposed to be later on in the Ghostface set. And I'm like, you gave this to us 10 minutes into the show. I was like,
yeah.
He was ready to go home.
Up.
He came in and was like, all right, let's go.
I'm like, okay. And then Raekwon came and he did his joint. And I was like, damn. Then they did a couple of the ones and they let Jizza rock for a little longer than I think he should have. But I mean, I'm a fan of Jizza.
You don't like his Takal set?
They didn't have no Takal. It was like a lot of Jizza, Deck, and Capadonna heavy. So I was it was one song.
They pull sticks to see who's gonna get the longest set.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, You God came out like twice. And then I was like, okay. Then Nas came on and Nas did his joints. And I was like, okay, Nas was cool. Mm-hmm. They came back on, and it was just Ghost and Ray. Mm-hmm. And they did the little Nas track they had. And then they did Can It Be, the song I was like really hyped for. And like they was in it, but then Ghost was just sitting on a bench like the whole time performing it.
He got tired. He's old.
Poor boy,
I know, and that's sleepy. What I was like, okay. It wasn't like they was busting out backflips and upside down moonwalk in the original video. Like you ain't got enough time you ain't got enough energy to give me a little bit of that for a verse. So I was like, okay. Busta Rhymes came and then he was doing this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was doing this weird thing where he was like, he would rap and then he would just go silent. And he would just still mouth the words, waiting for the crowd to like finish it. So he would be like, and his mans was like turning him down. So he'd be like, every time, and then he was like expecting the crowd interaction.
Yeah.
Finish the bars, and then he would come up and I'm like,
I saw Busta Rhymes went viral either yesterday, 2 days ago. You saw that?
No, I didn't.
Not to cut your Wu-Tang experience off, but this chick was reaching for him, you know, like as fans do. They reach for him, and he slapped her hand away. But in the process of slapping her hand away, his pinky ring flew out. His like diamond pinky ring just
Oh,
flew.
dang.
And then he threw a whole scene. He was like started yelling at the crowd and shit, like not to touch him or whatever. And it's like, and like people in the comments were like, "All right, Busta, like you should be happy. People are gonna see you. Like coming out to see you."
This is coming
Let
off the
alone
heels of that woman
excited.
grabbing Alicia Keys though and kissing her all in her face. She was walking through the crowd singing, and you know she high fiving people and this lady like lunged forward, grabbed her whole head, and like was kissing her on the face, and you could see Alicia like freaking out, and it was just one of those things. It's like, and that was right. I'm assuming it was before the Busta Rhymes thing, so it was like, hey, y'all need to stop. First of all, people gotta get better security. We seen the Argentina VP almost get her whole muffin cap peeled back blue, and she swiveled through all the security, was right there, and it was just like click, something off of COD. Like what?
Oh.
Like, oh, you tried to off me. Like this is what is going on with today's security? We haven't had enough people who were bullied by their fathers growing up, apparently, because we need some people who gonna put some hands on somebody.
What they need to do is just be like, nah, let them hit me, and then they'll slap the shit out you, and then you just shoot them. I felt dang, I was scared, terrified. My personal face. He came to take me. I didn't know what we had in his hand.
But continue with your Wu-Tang experience. You were at Busta Rhymes.
But yeah, so like Busta came, and I was like, at that point, I was kind of already sitting down in the chair, like,
oh, he had popped the squat?
I was sitting down. I was like, yeah, Busta. Then they came back, and then I was looking at my brother, and I'm like, what really do they got next? And it was, one of them leave early kind of thing. I was like, they could only really do Triumph, Protect Your Neck, but I'm like, no Old Dirty Bastard, no Method Man. Like, is that really worth the show? So then we're leaving. And as soon as we get into the parking lot, I was like, nah, I know that ain't Nas coming back on the stage. And I hear the song and it's Nas, but it's Hate Me Now. So I was like, cool, I never have to hear this song ever. I was like, oh, let's go. Slide to Portillo's, got me a beef, call it a night. Great experience.
Great experience. He said, yeah, I enjoyed something.
Yeah, it was a good show though. Like they was doing it, like they was killing it. I just felt like the energy, it was more festival than concert. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was
Kendrick. Kendrick ruined it for you. You expected a whole performance.
Because I was like, man, y'all got death. Y'all could got
you expected the Wu-Tang signal in the sky.
I expected a little bit more. Yeah, I did expect a little bit more from the Wu-Tang show, but it was cool. It was a lot of white folks, so it was a lot of niggas being thrown out. Not too many niggas around.
Not nan nigga in attendance.
Yeah, they was tripping $33 for shots.
Dang.
The shot
Where was this?
Like $33 at the Tinley Park, the amphitheater.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And also the sound wasn't the best. It sounded like they was eating the mics, or they was using the mics from '92.
Yeah.
They wanted the gritty feel.
Yeah, and I'm tired of that.
We want you to feel the struggle. We want you to feel the struggle. Like as I might struggle to
that's RZA's thing, bro. Like RZA's like, no, I want everything to sound like I was pouring in the basement doing it.
Really?
Yeah, that's his whole thing. So I'm like, I'm not surprised if they made the old mics from back then. The child was.
Come on.
But yeah, no, it was a good show though. It was pretty good.
That's good, man. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Before we get up out of here, we got two things relating to Aries Spears that are completely unrelated. The first one is that he did an interview with was it Vlad? I'm not sure if it was Vlad.
I think it was Vlad.
They were asking him about, I don't know how Lizzo was the topic. All I seen was a snippet. And they asked him what he thought about Lizzo. Her music. They were asking about her music. Aries Spears just I can't get over the fact that she looks like the poop emoji. What? Like what does that got to do with the song? We asked about the songs, Aries.
Yeah.
I can't get over the fact that she looks like the poop emoji.
Yeah.
And Twitter lit him up. Twitter lit him up. And it was one of those things where,
as they should have.
Yeah. But it was one of those things where, like, if you're one of those super woke people, it was like kind of tough because it's like, okay, the fat phobia that y'all was tired of him exuding, y'all are also exuding to talk about him. But this is what you asked for. You brought this up. You brought this on yourself. And then he gets on Instagram shirtless with his hat on in bed. Was like how dare y'all? But How dare y'all make a joke about me saying I don't get no pussy or I'm not funny? I've been in the industry for 30 years, but I'm not funny. It's like, Aries, stop.
Yeah.
You went too far. You thought you was being funny. It didn't land. It didn't land. This is not.
Didn't land.
This is no longer the 90s.
It's not even a sensitive thing. It just wasn't funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh man, would you smash Lizzo? Then that's an appropriate joke. Oh no, she looked like this or she looked like that. Fine. But they was like, how you like the music? It was like, okay, you just went out your way to make an insult.
Like literally, you
Like,
it was completely unrelated to everything we was talking about. The dude was like, yeah, like Lizzo makes really good music. She's killing it right now. Yeah, but she looks like sir.
Looks like mashed potatoes.
Like, how do we get here?
Like,
how specifically did we jump? He said A to Z. He just did. It was no. We're gonna ignore exactly what you said. You said Lizzo. My mind went here. Like,
it's
sir.
like you can't picture. It's like you be like, oh, what song? If the music sucks, then it's like, oh, that shit trash. And you could do that, but you didn't even answer the general question. Like, you just went for the jokes. I'm like, nigga, you think you me? Like, what are you talking about?
How dare you? You are out of practice, my friend. You need to calm down.
And it looks like a clout chase. Because when was the last time you heard Aries Spears' name anywhere?
I'm gonna be real. The last time I heard Aries Spears' name is when he went viral. He had auditioned for a movie that he didn't know Jordan Peele was in charge of. I'm pretty sure it was Get Out. I think he was auditioning for the role Lil Rel ended up getting. And a couple years before on Vlad TV, he was talking about Key and Peele, and he was comparing them to Will Smith. He was basically saying Key and Peele aren't invited to the cookout. Like, they're not black enough. Essentially, that was essentially the whole. Once again, what made you decide to say that? Who knows? You're not Dave Chappelle. They didn't copy your stuff bar for bar and then be able to go for 6 seasons. You're who you are. So you decided to go on Vlad and say that Key and Peele ain't black enough. Then you auditioned for a role. I guess he, like I said, didn't realize Jordan Peele was the executive producer of all of this. So Jordan Peele's looking at him. He's like, go ahead. He let him audition and everything. And he was like, well, if it was because of that, I didn't get my role.
No, probably. But who knows?
Most likely. You also could have just not been good. It's like, it's a plethora of things. Like, but I'm pretty sure you saying that they're not black enough. Yeah. Like, considering they probably had to hear that their whole life, probably didn't also help.
Like, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like someone who's, I feel like, one, he's trying to get something like viral to go, which I guess he was successful, just not positively. And but it's like some comedians, they think you have to say everything has to be a joke. You can't just say something normal. Like, they feel like maybe it's like the pressure where it's like, all right, you're a comedian, say something funny. I remember Dave Chappelle said that one time, that he was somewhere and I forgot who came up to him and was like, all right, say something funny. And Dave Chappelle was like, what? Like no, like I'm just regular. If something I say ends up being funny or like maybe a joke within the moment just happens to like come to my head and maybe I could say it. Like all right, then I'll say it, but I'm not gonna force something to be funny when we're just having casual conversation or I'm just standing here. It's like I'm not gonna do that. But I'm sure some comedians they're used to that. Was like, oh, you're a comedian, say a joke. I don't know if Rico might get it. No, Rico does skits and he does stuff like that. So I don't know if like, oh, you just said no, but like
no,
someone
I'm saying like I do like.
Oh, you do.
I've had like somebody like it'll be like a friend of a friend type of deal. So I hit one of them. I'll see somebody who I may know mostly over social media. Hey, bro, you funny? This, that, and the third. Oh, you do? Like, yeah, bro, I do skits. I make music or rap or say something funny. And it's like, I just hit you right now. Like, this is what we just got. Like, it's gotta be a moment. Funny, like, like so it's definitely, and I think a lot of times it is in jest, but I know for a fact rappers get it a lot, especially ones who are trying to come up. Oh, spit something, bro. I am at a Kroger. Like, what are we like? This ain't even the time or place for this. Like, what are we talking about right now?
That's not how that works. No, I'm not doing
that. Just on command, like, I don't just wake up spitting the Busta Rhymes verse and look at me now. That's not my daily affirmation for the day.
I'm sure like And I'm sure some comedians walk around with that in their head, that they probably think everyone wants them to be funny at all times. So with like a simple question, we're like, hey, do you like Lizzo? Yes or no? It's a simple yes or no question. No, I don't listen to it. It's not really for me. Or yeah, I love her music. Blah blah blah. It's a simple yes or no, and it turns into, all right, how can I make this funny, or like my version of funny? Oh, let me make fun of her.
Because if you're a comedian, and like I said, I'm not the funniest dude in the world, but like you can almost make somebody set you up for an alley oop if that's what you're really trying to get off. Like
you can definitely pull it out of them.
You could definitely, oh yeah, man, Lizzo's not really this and then the other. And then who knows? Vlad might have just thrown you the perfect alley oop. The next question.
Why don't you like her?
Oh, I can't get up. And you see what I'm saying? Bam. That's the Shaq Kobe joint right there. But you shot the gun too early. Like, just wait. That's probably the first thing he asked you, and you jumped on it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, just wait for your pitch, bro. Just wait.
And with that, Twitter does what it does, and they dug deep, and they found a skit that Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears had did a few years ago, which apparently was like a spoof of like what not a spoof, but it was like potentially to try to raise awareness to like be careful who your kids are around or something like that with R. Kelly. And it was, in Zoo's words, it was sick. And Zoo, and you thought I was trying to be funny. You have a very higher tolerance to specifically like what is considered funny or whatnot compared to me, especially. And you was just like, nah, like this.
I wasn't funny at all.
So
I was very, very uncomfortable.
It wasn't funny at all.
No, so I came across it. I didn't go looking for it. I don't care about Aries Spears or Tiffany Haddish that much to be like, oh, it's or Lizzo. Like, I'm not a Lizzo stan, so it's like, oh yeah, let's destroy this guy. It came up on my Facebook. One of my friends shared it, and he's also maybe it's a Raul thing. His name's also Raul, and he also, I think he has an even higher tolerance for like not like funny like dark humor type things than me, because like he was wild. And he posted it, and he's like, no, he put like, this is absolutely disgusting or something like that. So I clicked on it because I saw like in the caption, it was like Lizzo and Tiffany Haddish skit or whatever. And I was like, oh, let me see what this is about. And I see it. So the premise is that Tiffany Haddish is either going to work or like a job interview or the club. And one of them, it was the club, and another one was like a job interview or whatever. So she leaves her son with her uncle or the kid's uncle. Whichever the case may be. And in the first kid, you know, kids just hang around. Like, we're in the house, like kids just be hanging around. So in the first clip, the kid is just hanging around in his underwear basically, and he's like playing in the kitchen like with the toys. And you know, Tiffany Haddish leaves. Aries Spears picks up like these newspapers, and like he has them in his head, you know, like old folks do, where you have the typical newspaper in front of my face thing. And then he drops like a couple of the newspapers until there's only one left, and that one has like peepholes in it, and he's just looking at the kid play, and then they put R. Kelly music in the background because the kid's in his underwear or whatever. And then he's like, he like tells the kid, he like brings out baby oil, and like he tells the kid, he's like, oh, like my arm hurts or whatever, can you put baby oil on my arm? And so the kid starts putting baby oil on him. And that's the one skit. And then the second skit, it's basically the same premise. So when Tiffany Haddish goes to the club, but at this point, her kid's like finishing taking a bath, like a bubble bath. And same, it's the same exact joke. He puts the newspaper up, he drops it, he has the people, R. Kelly music in the background. And then this one, you know, he grabs like a sponge, and he's like gonna clean the boy because he's giving him a bath. And it's like the R. Kelly music and whatnot. And like at the end of the skit, he like accidentally falls in the bathtub with the kid.
Okay.
So that's, and then at the very end, it doesn't even start off this way. At the very end of the skit, it's like it says, be careful who you leave your kids with. So it was like, you could have just said that at the beginning. Be careful who you leave your kids with, and that's it. That's the skit. You don't have to do any of these extra shenanigans. But then that's the skit. And then now it's come to find out that those two kids, or the boy and I guess his sister, there must be other skits with the sister this time though, that they were trying to sue both him, Aries Spears, and Tiffany Haddish for like sexual assault, I guess, or something like that. Or I don't know what the exact charges were they were trying to press.
That's
But
crazy, bro.
yeah, it's one of those. But yeah, that was basically the premise of the skits. And like I'm saying, I'm assuming there are more because in the one that he posted, my friend posted, well, shared, it was just the boy. I didn't see like the girl in it, but I'm assuming there must be more of the same exact quality with the girl.
Niggas, sometimes, man, look, I understand.
Wow.
I understand that everybody has their own sense of expression and how they want to tell the story or give a heads up or whatever. Sometimes it just needs to be like a universal. Hey,
No,
let's not
that ain't
do it this way. Like,
that ain't
let's not.
it.
That this ain't it. Like, as a black man, there's only so many ways that I'm gonna try to raise awareness without me looking like I want to fornicate with the minor like that.
Yeah,
That's just me personally. I can only speak for myself. I understand, like I said, shock value and trying to raise messages and whatnot, but nah, dog, that's
That's a little
yeah,
too far.
bad.
You took
that's
it too far.
more than a little. You took it way too. You're going too far now, bitch.
yeah.
You're going too far.
They even had a video of Bernie Mac, I guess, when they was doing the little promo for the Bernie Mac.
Oh yeah,
They had Jordan trying to sit on his lap.
He's sit right there. Bernie wasn't going for none of that. He
None of
like,
that.
nah,
Yeah.
none of
That's
that.
wild though.
So it's one of those things where now, because I'm assuming that this didn't get much traction when it first dropped, because the fact that because so many people
I doubt it. It looks
just
like
now
a
finding
very
out about it.
like early 2010 skit, like those Facebook skits when people were making like the spoken reasons and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
It gave those vibes off, but yeah, I doubt it went viral back then.
So like he was
It's the first
trying
time I
to
see it.
make that like social media jump. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm very curious because I'm pretty sure he's gonna end up going back on Vlad to try to explain this because I haven't heard.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't follow. I don't think either. I don't think I follow either one. I may follow Tiffany Haddish on IG or whatever, but I haven't seen either one of them speak about it. So I'm very curious what ends up coming in the next few weeks or whatnot from this, if anything. Like, do you just stay silent about it? If you're him, because it's
It's a tough situation.
it just
Yeah.
looks bad. Like he's gonna say, "Oh, put in front of a camera and just say it," like you said. Watch out who you have hang around your kids because it doesn't look right. Like you didn't.
Yeah.
And then even with this skit, you didn't have to be the one that was doing the action. Like
Right. You
that's
make
what
it
get
seem
me
like you
more than
wanted to.
anything. Like you were the one you volunteered as
You
tribute for
wanted to
this.
do that.
Yeah.
Under the guise of
So
comedy.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know, man. That whole thing is weird. But yeah, truth be told, be careful who you leave kids around. I'll give them that much.
That's a lesson.
Definitely be careful who you leave your kids around. I guess.
Yep.
But is there anything else before we get up out of here? I know G Baby gotta go protect and serve.
No, just football season.
Football season
That's
is
about
upon
it.
us. Next week. I forgot
Mm.
that they shortened the preseason. I thought it was this week. I was excited when I woke up. It's not. But Bears going 17, you know.
Yeah.
You think Aaron Rodgers got another MVP season in him? Zoo.
I do. Oh, it
Okay.
might be tougher because our lack of wide receivers. Like our main wide receiver right now is I guess Sammy Watkins, but he's coming off an injury. Alan Lazard, who is our third best wide receiver, is now our second best wide receiver, I guess. Or he'd be our first if Watkins, knock on wood, gets injured. And we we drafted 2 wide receivers in the second round.
I heard that rookie is solid. Dobbins or Dobbs, however.
Yeah, Dobbs. He's been really good in preseason with Jordan Love as QB, so it's not even Aaron Rodgers as QB. And then damn, what's his name? It starts with a W. He just got drafted. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I'm a fake fan. No,
He's
he's a wide receiver, but he just got drafted, and he's also coming off an injury from college.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't play any preseasons, but from what we've seen or heard in the training camps and the practices, he is supposed to be expected to start or play, at least get some snaps in game 1. And apparently he's been really, really good. So, hopefully we have 2 other, Devontae Adams got drafted in the second round. So we'll see.
Well, best of luck to you guys, to the teams and you guys as fantasy teams over the coming weeks.
I got 2 fantasy teams.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But on behalf, we thank y'all for tuning in to yet another exhilarating installment of the Friendly Fire podcast. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can DM us at friendly_fire. Excuse me. on IG or Friendly Fire on TikTok. Once again, friendly_fire on IG or Friendly Fire on TikTok. Artists, send your artwork, send your music to friendlyfire2021@gmail.com. Once again, friendlyfire2021@gmail.com. If we like your artwork, we'll purchase it and put it on that big blue, beautiful wall behind G Baby. If it's music and we like it, it goes at the end of our podcast. Simple as that. On behalf of my boys, I am Rico, G Baby, Zoo, Friendly Fire. Be blessed.
Peace.
See you.